Hi, welcome to another episode of Every Little Girl Has a Story with your host, Dr. D. For those of you that this is the first time, I'm going to tell you I'm going to be looking all over the place. I got a lot of notes going on because I want to make sure I get the message out to you. But thank you for joining me. And this is a podcast. It's called Every Little Girl Has a Story, and it's dedicated to exploring healing, trauma, and social justice for survivors and victims in leadership. I'll be sharing my personal story of leadership in my own life and my entrepreneurship experience as a Latina survivor. And I'm going to be in hopefully some intimate conversations with you all and with other folks that I bring onto the podcast, executive directors, visionaries, cultural change makers, philanthropists, other healers, teachers, social workers, and other little girls, right, who are on a leadership journey. And want to share their story around healing with accountability around their story and the impact, right, that trauma and heartbreak and poverty and oppression has had on the way that they love, live, and lead. So, thank you for joining us. We're going to be talking about today gender based violence. And the reason that I want to talk so much about gender based violence is because it is at the heart of my work. And I have talked about it as if it was a little TED talk, but really, the thing about gender based violence is that it hits such a core wound, becomes such a core wound inside of all of us that it really messes with our social, emotional, and spiritual intelligence. And it is a strategy, right, to keep us looking outside of ourselves for all the answers. And so, my goal in these podcasts is to bring our spirit back to our bodies, so that we stop looking for the answers outside of us. We have everything that we need because we too can regenerate like the earth that sustains us. We have all the elements within, and that is what makes us so dangerous. Right. And so, the number one impact that trauma has in our lives is that it has us create dreams, relationships, families, businesses, nonprofits that we can't show up for sometimes. And for those of us that do, and we show up in our most powerful self, imagine what we can do if we took the time to heal some of that little girl's story. I had a friend to me say, when I first met you and you were talking about every little girl has a story and all of that stuff, I was like, I trust my little girl more than I trust, any of these sisters in this room. And, that has really, really stayed with me because I want to make sure that I am not making the inner child in you wrong. I am giving her space to finally feel, and to finally say the things that she's needed to say, and to let her know that you've made it, that you are successful. Look how far you've made it. Look at what you've been able to do in spite of and despite what happened to her, and that she no longer needs to leave your life, right? That she gets to be joy and celebration and enough and worthy and loving, and that she doesn't have to be this grown up, right, who is afraid to love, is afraid to trust, and is afraid to really fully be self-expressed and to be seen. Because some of the things that we struggle with the most as survivors and victims is, love me but don't love me, see me but don't see me, I want to be a part of a collective, but no, not really, because I don't trust nobody here. I want to build my business, but what's going to happen if I succeed at it? And what's going to happen if I fail? you know what, I'm not going to do it. Um, right? I want to be an executive director, but the way that I'm going to show up to that is not really having compassion for my staff. And, you know, the reality is that we can't take somebody somewhere we have not been. And we need to become first the people who can live in the other world that we are trying so hard to create. So I want you to close your eyes because I'm going to take you on a little journey and I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, okay? I want you to close your eyes because I know in all my coachings, as I come in and out of institutions, everybody's just trying to create a sacred space. Everybody's like, this space needs to have more compassion. It needs to have more mental health awareness. It needs to bring more self-care, more health and wellness, right? Like compassion has gone out of the window. And so I want you to imagine that you've arrived in a space that does exactly that. And if you can close your eyes, just listen to my voice. In this beautiful healing space is where I find myself. In this beautiful space is where I lose it all. And in this place of healing is also where I am reborn. I am 24 years old and I'm walking down the brightest, sunniest block in the South Bronx, which is in New York City in the United States of America. And I am walking into the organization that will forever change my life. 140th Street between Brook and Willis Avenue. That's the address of the organization that taught me how to love and be loved, how to lead and be led, and how to heal and then go out and heal others. 20 years in the making. So imagine walking into this beautiful healing space. It was the perfect work environment, an all women's organization with affirmations on the wall for self-love and candles lit, reminding us of our power despite our past. I worked in this organization starting as an intern and later as an executive director. And I worked there for over 15 years, supporting young and adult women in reclaiming their spirit so that they can break the pattern of individualism, isolation, guilt, and self-blame that result from violence. And one day, I looked up from my desk and I was all alone. I was the last one left of a group of 50 or more women who had passed through his doors as management, board, and staff, and leaving me to make one of the toughest decisions of my life, closing down an organization that I loved and that had created who I had become. So what happened? What happens when you put all the evidence-based, all the best practices, all the theories, all the health and wellness, the restorative justice, the healing justice, all the models and frameworks to end violence and oppression and harm and trauma, and it doesn't work? What do you think happened? I want you to take a moment and take a deep breath in through your nose. And your homework is to write down, what did you think happened? Share it with me in the comments. And let's talk about it. Thank you for tuning in today to Every Little Girl Has a Story. I hope that this conversation gave you some insight and has made you think. Continue to have this conversation by writing me in the comments, DMing me, join me on all my social media platforms, and together let's work towards building a more just and equitable world, one conversation at a time, and help me build a global platform for every little girl, healing one little girl at a time. If nobody's told you, I love you. If nobody has apologized to you, I'm sorry. Please forgive me and thank you for who you are in the world. Bye. Till next time.